So I bought a $500 bike, so I want to make pros and cons to that $500 bike. I'm going to start off with cons. It looks like complete crap. There's the headlight wires, the back blinker wires are sticking out. It is plasti dipped to beyond belief. It looks like a 4-year-old. My little brother could probably do a better job than the guy did on this. Another thing is, it rides like it's gonna fall apart. Like, when I first bought it, it rode like, it was so horrible. Like, I couldn't believe how bad it did, and everything was just shaking. Like, the cluster was shaking, the headlight was shaking around like 60. I'm like, man, dude, this sucks. And then like the third day I bought it, I was riding it, mind you, around the block, and the shift linkage broke. I had to go get a new one of those, which was 30 bucks, and not really crazy. The bike's super old. Like, it's like a fossil compared to me. I was born in 96, and this bike's an 87. So this bike's older than me. Another con to this bike is, like, people look at it really weird. Like, they act like this thing shouldn't even be on the road. It should be condemned. Which it should be, but it's fun. So we're going to go to the pros. It is fun to ride. I'm not afraid to drop it. I kind of am, because I know something will break or fall off. But I know I could just go somewhere and go get a fucking piece of shit part and throw it on there, and it'll still run. Because the one thing about this bike is, this bike got like 30,000 miles on it, and it runs like a champ for some reason. The guy said he rebuilt the motor, which he didn't show any receipts or anything like that, so I can't really post on like he really bought all that stuff and did it all himself. I don't know if he's even a mechanic, a motorcycle mechanic. I did not know. It looks to be rebuilt, but I don't know. And don't let me forget the oil leak. Okay, it does have a slight oil leak, which I cannot find. Like, I've tried everything to find this oil leak, can't find it anywhere. Sometimes it does it, sometimes it don't. I don't know why it does it. To be honest, it's the craziest thing I've ever seen. It's like a ghost leak. It comes sometimes and then it comes off sometimes. It's the weirdest, so that's another con. Another pro to the bike is, it's kind of quick. It's not a 250, it's a 700. It's a Yamaha 750, 700. It's a FRZ, I think. I do believe. Don't quote me, I could be wrong. I think it's an FRZ. It is quite quick. Nothing like the newer bikes, not like the injections, nothing like that. But it's enough to give you enough pleasure on the road. Trust me, it is a fun thing to ride when it feels like it's safe. Okay, safety is a big key. Like when I first bought the bike, I didn't have anything. I didn't even have a helmet, and I was planning on riding this thing home. And like, I realized when I got there, like, I didn't see a lot of the mistakes because it was kind of dark, and it took me a long time at the bank to get the money out. Blah 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 blah. It was just dark. It was horrible. The bike was not in the greatest of shapes. It wasn't. Just wasn't in the greatest of shapes. When I got there, it rode like I thought it did, and I really needed something at that time. And in Ohio, it was like 60 degrees, so I was like, oh man, this is gonna be great. Like, I hope it's like 60 all next week. Then it went to 30, then 20, then 10, and there goes with my another con: riding in the cold. It's the worst. It's like knives hitting you like at 1,000 miles an hour, and you're only doing 20 miles an hour. It is the worst. Your hands go numb after about 15 minutes of riding. Maybe not even that. Maybe 5. As soon as you get out of the garage, it's cold. Your legs are frozen to the tank, which is another thing that happened. The tank bolts. There was no tank bolts when I bought this bike. So when I was riding it, and I did not notice, okay, when I was riding it, I felt the tank shift, and it hit me right in the nads, okay, the balls. It smacked me so hard I almost started crying. Legit almost started crying on my way home from work. And it was painful. And another thing is, when you're riding a bike in the cold, it takes a long time for it to warm up. This bike is carbureted, so it takes forever to warm up. It takes maybe 20 minutes. And on top of that, while you're sitting in the cold for 20-25 minutes, you can't go. I'm not going back into work because I just got out of there. I just did whatever, or 10-hour shift. So I'm not going back in there to go watch people work. No. I have to sit out there with the bike for 25 to 30 minutes. And it's horrible. Because you have to adjust the choke all the time on this bike. Especially in the cold, when it's super, super cold. It's the craziest thing. You gotta adjust it. It's got a little ping thing where you adjust the choke. It's the craziest thing, dude. It's like absolutely the most stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life. I just don't know why they just didn't put one right on the handlebars, a choke lever or something. Why put it on the side of the bike? I don't know why. Another thing is, your parents are going to hate it. When I got this bike, my mother wouldn't even let me keep it in the garage. She said that I needed to sell it. So that's another con to buying a bike, especially when you're my age. I'm only 20, so like I still live with my parents. I know it's horrible. I'm getting my own place soon. I think in the next 2 months, me and my cousin are looking at some places. It's really hard to get a place too, by the way. But like, she wouldn't let me keep this thing in the garage, let alone in the driveway. So I had to park this thing around the block. And mind you, I get up at 5:30 in the morning to go to work. So while I'm walking myself at 5:30 in the morning, this thing is louder. This thing is so loud. Like, it'll wake the neighborhood up just by starting this thing. You go boom, 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 boom. Like, it's got a little bit of an exhaust leak. So it's like boom, 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 boom. And I'm getting yelled at by my next door neighbor saying my shit's way too loud. And I'm like, dude, I can't do nothing about it. And like, it's always boom, 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 boom. So the next thing I know, like, cops are there right behind me at 5:30 in the morning, checking it out, asking me why I'm disturbing the neighbors. And I'm like, come on. So he wrote me a ticket for that. So that's the one new ticket I have. And on the contrary, I just got my license back from suspensions from my car that just screwed all my life up. It just literally threw my life in a toilet. I had to get rides for my mother from work to work, back and forth to work. And my car got repoed, so my car got not repoed, but the courts took it, and it just went complete shit while it was sitting there for 6-7 months. It just went horribly. It was bad. It was too much money to fix. There was a broken window they didn't pay for. There was a lot of different stuff that they did not pay for at all, which sucks. But other than that, and then again on my car, I drove it. Even though that shit happened, I drove it, and it blew up 3-4 days later. It was a 5-speed stick. 2003 Eclipse. It had a shit ton of miles on it. It did what it was supposed to do. So I decided to go buy a bike, and I just got my income tax back. Everybody knows how it is when you get your income tax back, and it's the funnest thing. Well, not the funnest thing. When you're poor, it's like getting a pot of gold at the end of the week, at the end of the year, and you're like, oh crap, I can go buy whatever I want. And then you realize when you buy the bike that you're like, oh shit, it's still cold. It's still cold outside. So you're sitting there riding in the cold. You don't got nothing else. Mind you, I was gonna buy a car, and then I said, screw it. I always wanted a bike, and it's cheap. And the post on the bike was $1,000, by the way. This guy overvalued this thing, like, by an extreme amount of money. He overvalued it, like, by like a 20-30 football yards, like a football field. It was crazy. So like I said, like, I just thought it was gonna be warm. It never turned out to be warm. I think I've only had like 2 nice days, and that's the weekends. And it's like 15 degrees at 5:30 in the morning. So It's the worst. And if you think that your balls are froze, like literally, you can't move. By the time you get to work, I work there about 15 to 30 minutes away. Maybe on a good morning, it's like 10, 15 minutes if I'm speeding. And trust me, I speed. Okay, by the time I get there, dude, I can't even feel my legs. I'm frozen. I'm like this, crouched out. I got my helmet on. I got my little gloves on with glove warmers, boot warmers. I got a freaking Carhartt jacket on top of the leather jacket. Underneath the leather jacket, there's a leather jacket underneath, and I got a Carhartt jacket on top. And then I gotta carry around my hard hat. Like, it's just insane. And yeah, it sucks. So there's the pros and cons of having a bike and just in general, but the $500 thing is not my biggest issue. It's just the issue of the cold. It kind of looks like crap. Kind of get a lot of looks on the road, but I don't really give a fuck either. Like, who cares? Like, I see cars with freaking back windows smashed out all the time. I don't look at them any different, but if you guys want to judge me, that's fine. That's fine. At least my stuff runs decently. It leaks oil sometimes. It goes leak. I'll revert back to that. But I'm going to post a video of the bike tomorrow. I gotta wait till it gets a little lighter outside because it's really, really dark and I don't have the proper lighting or anything. So, and oh yeah, so another thing about this 500, the lights don't work. So trying to ride at nighttime, I have like a flashlight. I have to wait. It's a hack job. It's a wiring hack job. It's a nightmare. So I gotta go through all that, and I'll make a video about that too. I'm thinking about making this bike into a Street Fighter. Maybe if it lasts that long. Maybe a Street Fighter or something like it. I don't think I can make it into a cafe racer, to be honest. Yeah, it's probably gonna be a Street Fighter, or just a piece of shit. That's either two. Okay, YouTube, thank you for, if you guys watch this, thank you. I appreciate it. Have a nice night. Have a wonderful day tomorrow.